XRP's price jumped by over 10% yesterday on the back of the Grayscale news, which is absolutely fantastic to see. We're seeing some profits being taken, but does this now change our bearish outlook on where we thought the price action was going to be going before we started to see the big breakout? Or is this in fact the move now towards 75 to 85 cents? In today's video, I am going to be addressing the technical analysis on XRP, sharing my thoughts and opinions on the 1 hour and 1 day timeframes, letting you know where my position is on XRP's price action. As I get into today's video, smash that like button if you're new, subscribe, and let's take a look at XRP. So here we have XRP paired up with USDT. We're on the 1 hour Binance chart here, and you can see one hell of a candle coming in here yesterday on the back of that news. Since then though, and since we kind of topped out at 58.84 cents, we have dropped down a fair chunk, and unfortunately it doesn't look to be in the strongest position right now. So we want to be thinking maybe of coming down and retesting the 50 EMA, 50 SMA, maybe the 200 EMA and the previous area of consolidation, which I'll pull across here for reference. We were talking about the idea of moving up to 55.22 to 56 cents. Obviously, we smashed all the way through that with this news. So, of course, we have kind of overextended. This does mean that we are likely to see another surge to the upside potentially under the idea that we have some kind of bigger moves. But I'm going to go ahead and show you what's going on from the price action analysis point of view first. So here we can see that we had this initial surge basically from the 6th of September, to the 9th of September. This move, we had the little kind of cooling off coming down towards 52.3, and then of course we can see here this push to the upside. Now typically this should have ended somewhere between 56.51 and 57.55, but we did rally up higher than the 1.382. Now the reason why I think there's a potential move to the upside is that when you have this kind of move come up here, go higher than 1.382 but not as high as 1.618, it typically is an indication of a WX, Y, X, and Z structure. I don't think that's actually what's going on given the fact of how we drove the price action there, right? What's actually driven this is something rather different than what the sentiment was going into it. Okay, this was kind of news that broke and we saw this kind of run to the upside. So although technically speaking we should expect a WXYXZ, I don't believe we're going to. I think we're actually going to be looking at a 3-wave correction, which would be a 335 corrective pattern. And the reason for that, I mean, it's possible maybe that there's something else going on there, but I don't think so. I think for the most part, this is clearly impulsive. We do have a 5-wave structure here with a potential move here for a run to the upside. The next move to the upside, if we can manage it, is going to be up here at 59.68 to 61.07. I'm going to go ahead and draw a little box right on there so you guys can see that in a little bit more detail. And the reason for that is we are looking for a final 5th wave movement. So I'll show you what that looks like, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5. This 5th wave movement also has the makings of a 5-wave move like this, okay? So it does look like it's kind of following that kind of structure at the moment. Now, what would change our bullish outlook here on XRP on this 1 hour time frame would be if we were to come down and collapse down, and it is possible that we do see a 3-wave correction taking us back down and crossing that wave 1. If that happens, it's going to break this bullish structure, so we want to be very aware that that's going to be a make or break kind of situation for XRP. Hopefully we can just mark that as the wave 4 and we're starting the next big run to the upside. No guarantees, of course, because momentum is not supporting this idea right now. So momentum can shift, it can change, of course, so we want to be very mindful of that. But at the moment, this looks like we've completed a 3-wave pattern to the upside, 1, 2, and 3 here. And it's possible that that's a part of a bigger corrective pattern like this that takes us all the way back down to where we started. And it's not something that we want to see happen, but it's something that typically does happen on XRP. We see this time and time again because nothing really has changed from a legal standpoint with the SEC. This is great that Grayscale have obviously gone ahead and done the fund. And it wasn't that many years ago that Grayscale took XRP out of their funds. So it's great to see that it's gone back in and they're setting up a specific fund for XRP at Grayscale, right? It's great to see that. And it could, of course, potentially pave the way to other things, which I'll probably talk about later from a more kind of fundamental standpoint. But from a technical standpoint in the charts, I'm not convinced. We've seen this time and time again, right, where we see the pumps and then the dumps, right? So be very mindful. Possible that we do have that breakout situation, which will be great. Is it going to really change much? Not overly, but it would be great to see. We might be able to kind of finally say that that's a wave 3 and we have some kind of diagonal potentially, and that's how we kind of end up going towards the 75 to 85 cents. But until I'm see a structure that gives me a little bit more confidence, I'm not convinced that that's likely to be the case. So taking a look at this right now, what's the next play? Well, the next play, unfortunately, to me, would look like a short position. And it's not one that we want, but it's one that I have to kind of talk about. It kind of again rejected on the 1.382 here. As you can kind of see, just pull that back in line there. You can see 1.382, no closed positions above 1.382, no closed positions above 1.236, and basically we're dancing around on the 1-to-1. So here's the kind of play. I would be looking for us to kind of cool off. Is there a short position here? Probably not one that I would be too keen on. I'd be looking for 1.5, and I think it's not really going to have great risk reward ratio. So too much risk for the play. So I probably wouldn't be looking to short it. I'll be waiting to see if this kind of plays out nicely, and maybe there's a long position to be had if we do break on down from here at some point. Now, in terms of everything that's going on with the price action, we do want to see a 1.618 move. Okay, so if I pull this back on here, we are going to be looking for this price to really rally up higher than 57.64 cents before we kind of move down any more aggressively. The key level to kind of be watching out for is going to be 56.68. Now we can cross that level initially. But if we go higher than 57.64, then we can't go lower than 56.68 without breaking structure. And again, this comes into that idea that we're in a 5-wave pattern. So 1, 2, 3, then that wave 4 cannot and should not come down here unless we talk about a diagonal, but it doesn't look like it's going to reach those minimum expectations. So again, it's not one of those that's looking overly strong in my opinion. So although, I would say that the shorts seem to be the way to go, I'm not going to short this one until I have confirmation of that. So I'll be looking at these lower ranges, looking for a breakdown, maybe lower than 55.22, looking at the 50 EMA, 50 SMA, seeing if they get a breakdown from here, or whether or not we can get a confirmed support level and go long from there. Okay, so there's a lot of things to kind of consider here on the smaller timeframes when it comes to XRP. But it's looking okay, but I'm not convinced. Okay, so I'm going to be watching this one to see whether or not we can see whether there's a continuation to this move to the upside, or whether or not these smaller timeframes are actually just going to start breaking down more aggressively. We were, of course, talking about moving down towards the 48 to 51 cents, and that is still very much on the horizon here. So let's roll this up into a daily time frame and see if that changes much there. Again, we're dancing around this trend line that we've drawn on here. We haven't got a closed position above it, a clean kind of closed position above. There's no bullish engulfing candles. So yeah, still not looking the best. We obviously have got a closed position above the 200-day EMA. We've got the closed position above the 50-day EMA. So again, we weren't expecting that. We were expecting wicks. We were not expecting closed positions. So there's always that as a positive here. If we can close above the 50 simple moving average, then maybe we can start thinking about, okay, we've got some good ground. I'd wait for the second close and potentially talk about the long positions then for our daily time frame, targeting out the 75 cents with a stop loss lower than the previous swing low. Again, looking for a risk reward ratio of a minimum of 1.5, and that's an easy 1.5. It's actually over that. It's coming in at around 2.4, so a good risk reward ratio to be had there. So again, I'm going to be paying attention to that. But my concerns are we are in the overbought territory for the daily, although we can be up here for a while, so we can still rally. I think we are running out of time, specifically with everything that is going on with the Federal Reserve, the expected interest rate cuts, the liquidity issues in the market. So yeah, we are looking for a bullish 2025, but we're running out of time for 2024. So I'll be very, very mindful over that. So possible breakout situation, 75 to 85 cents maybe, but not a clean run. Again, everything still remains quite bullish on the daily timeframes. I'm not too concerned about everything that we've seen here. and just waiting to see whether or not we can get confirmed breakout situations. It's good to see a couple of closed positions at the moment, or one closed position above the 250-day EMAs yesterday. A closed position today could be positive for Bitcoin's bulls, so we might be able to see the market run there. Smart money concepts on the daily time frame still remains in a bullish structure. Again, all looking good. Weak high, strong low. So we're not likely to break down the way that some people believe anyway. So we are still looking for that structure to hold. Possible that it doesn't, of course, because anything is possible. But we are still looking pretty strong, unless, of course, price action really drops down aggressively lower than 38.23. The market still looks good for the 75 to 85 cents. So yeah, for the most part, everything is kind of playing out quite nicely. A little bit, unusual activity with everything that was going on yesterday with the grayscale price action and the news. A good push to the upside over 10%, but it doesn't look strong to me on the 1 hour time frame. So we'll have to see whether or not we get a good clean close on the daily time frame again today. If we do, that might signal a bigger bullish movement for XRP on the bigger macro scale. But guys, what are your thoughts on all of this? Let me know in the comments down below, or join us in our free Discord server. We'd love to hear from you. And if you haven't done so already, guys, check out my video just over here. It's not one you're going to want to miss.